hidden lab and millions of dollars in drugs are found inside a Northeast Harris County apartment.
Yeah, firefighters actually made this discovery.
Have you ever wondered just how sophisticated an underground drug empire could get? Right here on American soil, building factories capable of producing hundreds of tons of illicit substances, operating like a multinational corporation, recruiting veterans, stockpiling heavy weapons, and nearly controlling the entire supply chain from the border to every corner of the country. On that fateful morning in Florida, a fleet of FBI and DEA armored vehicles stormed in simultaneously, exposing a terrifying network no one saw coming. What started as the largest seizure in history quickly escalated into a full-blown national security operation in just a few hours. This video takes you into the final moments of that historic raid, the one that will forever change everything you thought you knew about the drug war. Hit that like button if you're ready to face the truth. Share this to warn everyone. Drop your thoughts in the comments below and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss the next shocking military secret. But the silence that blanketed the place afterward wasn't the dead stillness of an abandoned site. The air inside was still about 10 degrees Fahrenheit warmer than the chill outside, carrying a faint whiff of industrial chemicals from the ventilation system running on low, its fans opening and closing in steady rhythm. Clearly, the machinery here had only shut down a few hours earlier, and the vast space still held onto the lingering warmth and echoes of recent production. Federal agents moved with professional precision and discipline through the narrow aisles formed by crates stacked up to 15 feet high. Each crate was tightly wrapped in glossy black plastic and labeled, legally marked clearly as organic fertilizer or ordinary industrial cleaning agents. Yet the small details betrayed the anomalies. The weight listed on the labels didn't match reality at all. Barrels marked as powdered fertilizer weighed over 4,000 pounds each, figures more suited for heavy industrial equipment, not everyday agricultural products. When the plastic wrapping was carefully sliced open, inside were tightly compressed blocks of material stacked in near-perfect alignment with the precision of automated machinery. Field tests conducted on-site took just 90 seconds to confirm that this was a highly potent synthetic compound from a restricted class internally coded as 70, meaning it was 70 times stronger than standard substances legally allowed in circulation. The inventory process continued in tense silence. The initial seizure tally steadily climbed past 50,000 pounds, then surged beyond 70,000, and finally settled at a staggering 92,000 pounds. This massive haul instantly shattered every previous record held by law enforcement for this emerging synthetic substance. What began as a routine bust quickly escalated into irrefutable evidence of a large-scale production facility masterfully disguised. Behind the storage area lay a state-of-the-art production line, stainless steel conveyor belts, still dusted with fine white powder residue, flanked by multi-tiered drying racks capable of processing hundreds of trays of raw material at once. The entire space was optimized for efficiency with industrial lighting fixtures, exhaust ducts, and supporting equipment, all still in a state of readiness, poised to resume operations at any moment. This wasn't just a storage site anymore. It had become living proof of a highly professional, organized, and unprecedentedly large-scale operation. Massive industrial mixers, the kind you'd expect to see in large-scale food processing plants, stood next to specialized vacuum chambers designed to compress raw materials at high speed. The gleaming stainless steel surfaces reflected the cold glow of overhead industrial lighting, creating an impression of cleanliness and professionalism that felt almost soulless. Every workstation in the area displayed absolute meticulousness. No detail had been overlooked. Tools were neatly arranged exactly according to the clear layout diagrams printed on wall-mounted instruction boards. The floors were swept spotless with not a single stray speck of dust. Trash bins had been emptied and relined with fresh bags ready for the next shift. There were no signs of the chaos or carelessness typically found in clandestine operations. The entire facility had the look and feel of a standards-compliant production line, almost indistinguishable from a legitimate pharmaceutical plant rather than an illegal one. A transparent plastic-sleeved chart positioned right in the packaging area revealed a level of organization that was astonishingly sophisticated. On it, red, green, blue, and yellow dots were precisely placed at fixed positions on a pallet layout diagram. This chart translated the color codes into a sprawling distribution network stretching across multiple states. Red routes led to Georgia green, headed toward Texas. Blue ran through North Carolina, while yellow extended up to New York via major urban transfer hubs. Departure schedules were mapped out in precise military time, deliberately avoiding any repeatable patterns that could raise suspicion while also factoring in weather conditions and the operating hours of highway way stations. When agents cross-referenced the shipment tracking numbers with federal databases, the results came back completely blank. Not a single load had ever appeared in official channels. This entire massive supply chain operated in total darkness, leaving no trace whatsoever in the public system. In the very first hour of processing the crime scene, the initial assessments from supervisory levels sent shockwaves through the entire command structure. This warehouse was not just a temporary storage facility or a transit point, it was the core processing and distribution hub of an underground network operating on a nationwide scale, backed by perfectly forged paperwork, solid infrastructure, and security measures at the highest level. The case in Brevard, Florida was no longer confined to the scope of a local criminal investigation. It had rapidly escalated into a national security issue with far-reaching implications. While technicians were carefully collecting evidence from the main production area, two FBI agents suddenly noticed a steel wall panel that had been fitted with uncanny perfection, no visible welds or mounting screws. When they applied pressure precisely along the seam, the 8-foot-long panel flexed slightly, accompanied by a faint hydraulic hiss. Immediately, the steel plate swung open smoothly and silently, revealing a narrow corridor lined with thick layers of specialized sound-absorbing material, the kind designed to dampen nearly all noise, even the loudest disturbances. This passageway extended deep inward, leading to another secret level that no one had previously suspected existed. Do you support this war to eliminate these cartels? If yes, comment the number 2. If not, comment the number 5. The corridor led to a windowless room bathed in dim red light. 3 folding tables were arranged into a command area beneath a large wall map outlining sea routes in red marker from Southeast Asia through the Caribbean to the Gulf of Mexico. Overlaid on it were notes detailing legitimate cargo shipments routed through ordinary companies, utilizing large aircraft at small airports with lax customs oversight. Each transshipment point was clearly marked with storage durations, inspection risk levels, and alternate routes. A directory of legitimate suppliers was organized like a corporate org chart, with foreign entities periodically changing names while maintaining the same registered agents in Panama and Singapore. The entire setup revealed tightly centralized control from a single source. Logs showed import containers labeled as carrying ceramic tiles and palm oil, which would then vanish from bonded warehouses only to reappear under new bills of lading. This deception system was designed to repeat sustainably, even if a few nodes were lost. At the far end of the room was a hatch which took 38 minutes to cut through. Inside was a cache of hunting and sporting equipment that transformed what had originally appeared to be a commercial operation into a domestic security threat. Sporting rifles were neatly racked along the walls, each fitted with standard threaded suppressors. A compartment held handguns with extended magazines and threaded barrels. In the corner stood a belt-fed heavy machine gun preloaded and aimed directly at a narrow observation slit overlooking the corridor. Nearby crates of industrial chemicals sat next to remote detonators wired to pressure and motion sensors, a fail-safe system designed to erase all traces in the event of a forced entry. In a small alcove, stacks of disposable burner phones were organized by month. An encrypted router running custom software was locked in a filing cabinet alongside forged driver's licenses and social security numbers pulled from outdated databases. The system was self-contained and self-regenerating. At the far end of the steel table under a gooseneck lamp sat a black laptop with full-disk encryption which took 11 minutes to crack. Inside were hierarchically organized folders structured like the blueprints of a legitimate corporation. A real-time distribution map spanned 17 states. Money laundering transactions were routed through cryptocurrency in amounts kept under $10,000 each. GPS logs detailed routes designed to avoid license plate readers and federal way stations. There were recruitment files, training schedules, and quarterly risk assessments, along with personnel rotation tracking that resembled competitive intelligence analysis. When the command team received the preliminary data dump, their understanding expanded beyond ordinary tactical concerns. The Brevard warehouse was not just a node, it was the nerve center of the entire data transmission network. The final encryption layer was breached at 9:47 a.m. A one-time decryption key signal was immediately transmitted from the Brevard command post to every FBI DEA-HSI and counterterrorism unit across the United States. Minutes later, analysts watched their screens light up like a nighttime lightning storm. Color-coded markers representing ordinary Panamanian-registered companies with Florida signatures spread across the map, stretching from the Gulf of Mexico all the way to Canada. The warehouse was not an isolated block. It was an entire anatomical diagram with identical DNA structures replicated across the network. A national emergency directive was issued at the highest priority level, equivalent to mass shootings or weapons of mass destruction threats. Execution time just 38 minutes from the moment the data first loaded into primary RAM. Full breach, no warnings, no negotiations. If any single node detected the intrusion even 30 seconds early, the entire network could self-destruct and vanish before dawn. Houston, 8:12 a.m. Central Time. Two armored Bearcats crashed through the rented industrial park's perimeter fence, sparks flying across the asphalt. The hydraulic roll-up door slammed shut with an earth-shaking boom. Inside, loaders froze in stunned silence amid thickly dust-covered pallets. White weapon-mounted lasers flooded the space. One forklift driver attempted to ram his way out, but plowed straight into a blocking DEA Tahoe. A supervisor sprinting toward the overhead catwalk was dropped by an HRT stun gun. 91,000 pounds of Schedule 70 material sat fully prepped on battery-cooled forklifts from the overnight shift. Green and red markers stood poised for orders, but they never reached Georgia. Georgia, 9:28 a.m. Eastern Time. State troopers converged on a truck parking lot 38 miles outside Atlanta. Two 53-foot trailers had just eased off the interstate when engines roared to life. Patrol vehicles boxed them in an X formation. Drivers bolted into a soybean field. A low-circling Blackhawk hammered the air rotor wash, flattening crops as the SWAT team fast roped down. The manifest declared 40 tons of construction lime shipped from Tennessee, sealed with scale weights matching the Florida declaration to the pound. Cutting through the false floor took only 7 minutes to reveal the black plastic product bricks, color-coded and identical to the others. North Carolina, 9:51 a.m. A convoy of tractor trailers on a red dirt back road outside the suburbs was halted a quarter mile out. The HRT team glided through pine forest under real-time thermal coverage from a Reaper orbiting at 22,000 feet, pinpointing a concrete bunker buried beneath what appeared to be an ordinary shed. They breached the false floor by fast roping straight into the vault below, seizing vacuum-sealed stacks of cash worth millions of dollars, a satellite uplink, and a manual titled Blue Route Phase 2 containing contingency rerouting plans and pre-drafted press releases designed to pin the blame on fabricated rival gangs. The design ensured that the highest level command would lose official communication within 6 hours. New York, 10:05 a.m. A third-floor office in Long Island City belonging to a Delaware-registered shell company that had been operational for only 11 weeks was breached with the front door blown inward. 12 hardware wallets loaded with cryptocurrency were seized, along with a chain of transaction mixing servers running at elevated temperatures. The massive ledger matched Satoshi payments exactly to the records pulled from the Florida laptop. The underground financial system was completely shut down. Every location hit that morning left behind identical forensic signatures down to the tiniest detail, precisely as scripted in the contingency plan from the very first hour. A sophisticated franchise network optimized for rapid regeneration in the event of disruption, designed to sustain efficient operations. By 11:30 a.m., authorities had seized a total of 247,000 pounds of product, arrested 52 high-level operatives, neutralized 41 tractor units, and frozen 14 financial wallets. Rerouted packages, vacuum-sealed in plastic, were interdicted based on helicopter tracking signals as early as the following day. The operation was meticulously planned but not simultaneously executed within a tight window of 38 minutes. It marked the first time this system had suffered a severe systemic disruption. Command realized that the architecture had not been designed to shut down in a single morning, yet it would still require considerable time to regenerate. As the last unit pulled back at dawn in Florida, the warehouse was not yet fully under control and retained residual operational capability. The entire site was illuminated by 20,000 watts of floodlights, with every pallet surface numbered and photographed for cataloging in what was now a massive federal case. The production area was meticulously examined to reconstruct the process, raw materials staged at the bay doors, additive mixing machines, negative pressure fume hoods, infrared drying racks, and vacuum chambers that compressed bricks in 40-second cycles. Output evidence confirmed a capacity of 4 tons in 72 hours, comparable to a professional plant in New Jersey or a major facility on the southern border. Digital forensics teams zeroed in on the encrypted laptop, the folding tables, cross-border transactions broken into sub-$10,000 increments, and driver rosters complete with photographs and personal details. The organization operated under the cover of a nonprofit veteran employment program, but the board never actually utilized it effectively. Its financial model featured a blisteringly fast 90-day capital turnaround, with profits generated almost entirely through hyper-complex logistics. They handled imported product by sea and air domestic onward transport and ran a just-in-time supply chain fused with Six Sigma quality control and rework protocols. Every division was siloed, yet answered to a single director, protected by 3-layered, fully compartmentalized communication channels. Succession lines were pre-mapped, contingency capital was dispersed across 5 continents, and the network was engineered to auto-amputate any threatened limb the moment compromise was detected. The only traces left behind were empty container yards with fresh oil stains, scattered shrink-wrap abandoned pallets, a grid that self-immolated within 48 hours, offshore servers throwing 404s, mule wallets vanishing overnight, burner phones going dark, wire transfers stopping mid-flight. Word spread fast through the local communities, and the true scale finally sank in. In Florida, the families tied to it owned 30-meter yachts and wore level 4 plates under their polo shirts. In North Carolina, farmers who'd never needed one before were suddenly pouring reinforced concrete bunkers. Treasury responded by flash freezing every linked LLC. Customs quietly extended port-hold authority for 18 months and tripled targeting. The breach exposed a much deeper truth: a highly efficient, disciplined, rapidly regenerating parallel economy had taken root on American soil, one that had already moved hundreds of tons through U.S. ports without a single major seizure. The biggest lesson from this shattering raid for all of us is this: the real threat does not come from scattered lone wolf drug kingpins. It comes from a sophisticated, highly organized criminal system that operates like a modern corporation, one capable of burrowing deep into society, recruiting Americans, exploiting American infrastructure, and running with military-grade discipline. They are not merely trafficking illicit substances. They are building a parallel underground economy engineered to regenerate stronger after every blow. Only clear-eyed recognition, sustained community vigilance, and a unified national response can prevent them from taking permanent root. Do not look away. The security of this country begins with your attention today. The historic raid in Florida and the synchronized strikes across the United States have temporarily severed the backbone of a terrifying underground empire, a criminal economy that operates with greater sophistication than many legitimate corporations. We have seized hundreds of tons of illicit substances, neutralized caches of heavy weaponry, and laid bare the architecture of a genuine threat that has sunk deep roots into the heart of this country. But as you've just witnessed, this machine does not die easily. It was engineered to regenerate in the shadows. True victory will only come when all of us together recognize the danger, stay vigilant, and take action. What do you think about this threat? Can America completely prevent their return? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, share your perspective, like and share this video so more people wake up to it, then hit subscribe and turn on notifications for the next shocking breakdowns. See you in the next one.